I'm here with the Association of African Universities Television, AUTV. I just want to say that without the media, you won't know what's going on in the world. Even with the media, you sometimes don't know what's going on in the world. So you need to tune in to the reliable sources who are really on the front lines, who can give you the information you need and give you facts, not conjecture, give you real news, not fake news. And this is the place to find it, AUTV.
The voice of higher education in Africa.
This program is proudly sponsored by Vena Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks.
Good morning to you, and thank you for joining us on another episode. In my local language, which is Ga, we say Mimbanye Umanye, and which means you're welcome to Hello Africa Morning Show. This program is brought to you by the Association of African Universities, AAU, and proudly sponsored by Vena Purified Water and Bigo Drinks. We are broadcasting live, or we are bringing to you live from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities. My name is Isabella Teta Hinakwa, your host. And today I'm joined by my co-host.
My name is Philemon Edwards.
Okay, Philemon, I like your costume today. Which
Thank you.
tribe are you representing?
Well, I'm representing the people of the North.
People of the North. And
Yeah.
I am representing the Ghana Dangwe. And today we are celebrating Ghana as part of the celebration, or as we join in the whole Ghanaians to celebrate the month, which is dedicated to Ghana. Celebrating our culture, letting people know who we are, our history, and then our ancestors. Phil,
Yeah.
Ghana month.
Sure.
So let's talk a bit about our culture. So you said you are representing
The people of the North.
What do you know about them? Give us a brief.
Well, I know the North is quite big,
Okay.
and there's a huge representation of people from the North. For example, when you are in Tamale, you are talking about the Dagombas. I know there's a section of the Gonjas as well. If you go to the Upper East, you are talking about people in Borga, so we are talking about the people of Frafra. And I think along the way, you pass to Wale Wale as well, so there are the Wales as well. The Upper West has Wa as well. So it's quite a number of people in there coming from the North. So they have a very huge representation when it comes to the North. Yeah.
And I know you are very good in terms of farming. That is where when you want to.
Well, a little bit.
A little bit. Well, for my tribe, the Ga, so I know we migrated from Nigeria,
Yeah.
and also our main food is food done with maize.
Yeah.
So we have the komi, which is the kenke. We have banku. We have also a drink, which is meda. I don't know if you've tasted it before.
I have tasted that before.
Yeah, it's very, very delicious,
Yes.
I must say. And also, when it comes to naming, from my family, the first lady is called Naudi. So myself, I am called Naudi.
Okay, that's beautiful.
So today you have to call me Na.
Your name is Na.
Exactly.
Right.
And aside that, we are also, let's talk a bit about the International Women's Day. You know, last
Great,
week
great.
was dedicated to a day. Last week, Saturday, yes,
Yeah.
was dedicated to celebrating women, both locally and internationally.
Yeah.
And the theme is for all women and girls, rights, equality, empowerment.
Yeah.
For all women and girls, rights, equality, and empowerment. To me, I think we've come far when talking about giving women the opportunity or the equal right, or even empowering them. To me, I think we've come far.
Yeah.
When we are counting the number of women who hold leadership roles, who are engaged in leadership positions and other things, I think we have quite a number of women represented.
Yeah, that's very true. And I want to begin this one from the point where Ghana has now the first female vice president. Like, I'm so excited about it, and there couldn't be a better timing for every Ghanaian woman who is alive to witness this year's International Women's Day celebration. And I believe for the next 4 years it's going to be wonderful because of the person of the vice president who is in such a position. And it's the first time Ghana is having that. So for me, just like the vice president said, when the NDC won their election. She said that a door has been opened, basically.
Yeah.
And I think that every young Ghanaian woman, and for that matter, every African woman should be proud to know that there's a door that has been opened. Exactly. And she says she's going to keep the door opened. So for me, it's a statement that comes with a lot of power. And I will be glad to see every African young woman, regardless of your age, trying to make some efforts to get into this door that has been opened. I know there have been other examples of women leaders in other African countries. For example, Tanzania has a female president, I think in Namibia as well. So this is a beautiful thing to behold on the scene of Africa. So I think that every African young woman must take advantage of this kind of situation and then make something out of themselves.
Very, very true. And of course, the door is open, especially Ghana having a vice president. So we have many, many more interesting stories for you. We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring to you the top African news. Please stay tuned.
My name is Jemima Daladem Doche, and I'm here with our top African stories. So we begin with the story from Keta, and then Keta, as a coastal town in Ghana's Volta region, is facing severe land erosion due to tidal waves, leading to widespread destruction and displacement. President John Dramani Mahama marked Ghana's Independence Day with a visit to affected communities where he inspected the damages, distributed relief items, and pledged to complete the Blekusu Sea Defense Project to protect residents.
Keta, a once thriving coastal town in the Volta region, is now facing crisis. Rising sea levels and relentless tidal waves have eroded vast portions of its coastal line, destroying homes and displacing hundreds. The devastation has left more than 300 people affected, with over 50 homes wiped out and an 80-kilometer stretch of land submerged. Marking Ghana's Independence Day, President John Dramani Mahama visited Agaveji and other communities in the Ketu South District, where he witnessed the extent of the destruction firsthand. Accompanied by a high-profile delegation, he pledged urgent action, promising to prioritize the completion of the long-delayed Blekusu Sea Defense Project. In the wake of the disaster, President Mahama distributed essential relief supplies, including 750 bags of rice, cooking oil, and other necessities. His brother, businessman Ibrahim Mahama, donated 100,000 cedis with an additional 100,000 cedis from the Volta Region NDC caucus to support affected families. During his visit, the president also expressed disappointment over an abandoned resettlement project initiated by the Ghana Gas Company Limited, calling the work shoddy and inadequate for displaced families. Local chiefs voiced their frustration over years of neglect, calling for urgent intervention. In response, President Mahama assured the community that funds will be allocated in the 2025 budget to complete the Sea Defense Project and safeguard vulnerable coastal towns.
So moving on, the Director for Global Quality Assurance Association, Dr. Violet Makuku, has urged African universities to adopt artificial intelligence, that is AI, to remain competitive in the global education. Speaking at a symposium in Accra, she emphasized AI's role in transforming teaching, research, and institutional management.
African universities must adapt to artificial intelligence or risk being left behind. This was a key message from Dr. Violet Makuku, director of the Global Quality Assurance Association, at a 3-day symposium in Accra. Speaking at the event organized for Mahmoud Bello University, Dr. Makuku highlighted how AI-driven tools like ChatGPT and Grammarly are revolutionizing education, boosting efficiency, and streamlining administration process. She warned that institutions' resistance to change risk becoming obsolete in a rapidly evolving digital world. She called on university leaders to push for national policies that support AI integration while stressing the need for investment in technology, infrastructure, and research. Vice-Chancellor of Ahmadu Bello University, Professor Karibu Bala, echoed these sentiments, emphasizing collaboration among African institutions to drive innovation. The symposium, hosted by the Global Quality Assurance Association, is one of many initiatives aimed at improving educational standards across the continent.
And Uganda's Ebola outbreak is spreading, with 14 cases confirmed in the last week. That is according to Africa's top public health agency. A new cluster has emerged from a 4-year-old who currently died of the disease, raising concerns about the extent of the outbreak. The Sudan strain of Ebola, which has no approved vaccines yet, is now present in 5 districts, including the capital, which is Kampala.
Uganda is battling a growing Ebola outbreak, with 14 cases confirmed in the past week. A 4-year-old child's death has triggered a new cluster, raising concerns about undetected transmission. 3 of the latest cases are confirmed Ebola, while 2 are classified as probable, according to the Africa CDC. The outbreak has now spread to 5 districts, including the capital, Kampala, where it was declared on January 30th. So far, 2 deaths have been confirmed. However, transparency concerns remain, as some hospitals have handled suspected Ebola cases without informing the public. Uganda's Ministry of Health insists the situation is under control. With no approved vaccines for the Sudan strain, contact tracing remains key to stopping the spread. Health officials are still investigating the source of the outbreak, but Ebola is often linked to infected animals or consuming raw meat. The virus causes fever, vomiting, diarrhea, and severe bleeding, and is transmitted through bodily fluids and contaminated materials. Uganda has faced multiple Ebola outbreaks, including one in 2022, which killed at least 55 people. Across East Africa, viral hemorrhagic fevers remain a major public health threat. Tanzania and Rwanda have also battled similar outbreaks in recent months.
Also, Nigeria has introduced a comprehensive guidelines for organ and tissue transplant to regulate the sector and address ethical concerns. The health minister says the move reinforces the government's commitment to saving lives through ethical procedures.
Nigeria has taken a major step in regulating organ and tissue transplants, launching a new framework to ensure ethical standards and transparency. The country's health minister says organ transplantation is not just a medical procedure, but a lifeline for many patients in need. Developed through collaboration with medical experts, legal professionals, and key stakeholders, the guidelines address long-standing issues such as donor shortages, cultural concerns, and weak regulations that have left the system vulnerable to abuse. The framework explicitly bans organ sales and aligns with global best practices covering kidney, liver, bone marrow, cornea, gametes, embryo donation, storage, and surrogacy. With this, Nigeria aims to strengthen oversight and prevent exploitation in the transplant sector.
And again, the U.S. has ordered an immediate pause on most foreign assistance to South Africa, citing egregious actions, according to a State Department detective seen by The Guardian. The move follows Executive Order 14204, signed by Donald Trump, targeting alleged racial discrimination against white Afrikaners.
The United States has altered most foreign aid to South Africa in a sweeping decision that escalates tensions between the two nations. A State Department cable signed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio directs all agencies to pause aid disbursement with minimal exceptions.
The order claims South Africa's land reform policies discriminate against white Afrikaners, an assertion strongly denied by the South African government. Critics say the move is influenced by Elon Musk, a South African-born billionaire and Trump ally who has repeatedly condemned the country's racial policies. The only aid program allowed to continue without review is PEPFAR, the US-funded global HIV/AIDS initiative. Other assistance programs, including climate projects, will require special approval. This comes as South Africa faces uncertainty over its trade benefits under the African Growth and Opportunity Act (AGOA), with Trump considering an overhaul of US-Africa trade relations.
So that is all for our top African stories. And my name is Jemima Daladem Duche. As we all know, we are still in the Ghana month. And of course, I'm a proud Ghanaian and a Votarian for that matter. And that is why I'm actually dressed this way. And we'll go for a quick break. And when we come back, we'll continue with our story.
Explore a whole new world of exciting visuals with AAU TV. Get ready for a mix of interesting talk shows, interviews, discovery documentaries, and news on AAU TV. It's not just about watching TV, it's about experiencing something special. AAU TV reaches over 25 countries in Africa, bringing you a blend of knowledge and fun. Learn about different cultures as you enjoy the shows. If you have events or want to showcase your business, we've got you covered. Watch AAU TV free-to-air channel on satellite. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at AAU TV. Reach out on call or WhatsApp us at +233 26 629 6601 or +233 20 399 5210. AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
This is Hello Africa on AAU TV.
This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks.
You're welcome back from the break, and that was our presenter, Jemima Daladem Duche, with the top African news. Of course, she is a proud Votarian. And you know, the meaning of Daladem from the voter perspective is the Savior has delivered us. And so we are going to dive right into the news portal review. Phil, if you're going to start with that.
Right. So we'll go straight into our news review, and we'll begin right here from Ghana. Ghana's Treasury bill rates have fallen below 20% for the first time in nearly 2 years, reflecting a shift in government borrowing strategy and strengthening investor confidence in the country's economic recovery. This decline indicator reduced reliance on short-term domestic borrowing as the government moves towards fiscal consolidation and explores alternative funding sources. In January 2025, the government raised 38.45 billion through T-bills, slightly below the 40.57 billion offered by investors. Despite high demand, authorities have been rejecting bids aggressively to push yields lower, aligning with the goal of reducing borrowing costs. Ghana has achieved a critical milestone in its debt restructuring process, aiming to reduce the debt to GDP ratio to below 55% by 2028 and lower the debt service to revenue ratio under 18% from 2028 onwards. Despite this positive development, challenges remain. Ghana is still locked out of the international capital markets and the local bond market, struggling post-debt restructuring. Treasury bills remain the primary tool for financing the debt deficit. Sustained economic stability and inflation controls will be critical to ensuring long-term gains. Right. So, Bella, let's talk a little bit about Ghana's financial situations with regards to the Treasury bills rates that have fallen below 20%. we do understand that it is going down simply because of what the government is trying to do, so that they are controlling Ghana's debt situation.
Yeah.
What do you make of this session?
So I think we talked about this last week, but then we were not certain as to the right percentage or the accepted percentage based on the duration of the T-bill.
Yeah.
So let me just break it down from the news portal review, from the Graphic Business Online.
Okay.
So we have 3 periodic packages.
Windows,
So we have the 91, we have the 191 days, we have the 182 days, and then the 1 year, which is
365 days.
days. So currently the new rate for the 191 days is 17.72% compared to 20.79% previously.
Yeah.
And then the 182 day, it's fell to 18.97%. Compared to 22.99%. And then the 1 year is declined to 19.98% out of compared to 22.69%. It's
right.
We understand the situation we are in. Myself, last week I was not happy, but after this news and then reading loud, trying to understand the situation, and I'm actually I don't know, understand what the government is doing and appreciate the effort. At least there are some strategies the government is doing quite a lot. No, not a lot, but the government is trying to lift us from the debt situation.
Yeah.
So and there are some strategies that he's bringing. Compared to, as part of it is the reduction of the rate, and also not just the reduction of the rate, but also cutting the bits.
Yeah.
So last year, I think he accepted 7.41 billion Ghana cedis treasury bill bits, but this time, which was from March 7, he just accepted 6.22 billion bits treasury bill.
Right,
which is also okay. To me, initially, I didn't really. Well, I was not happy because I'm a
because you're going to be losing some dividends.
But then again, we have to sacrifice. We have to cut a lot of things. We have to go through the pain to be able to live the country from the debt situation. So we are all in. We are all contributing one way or the other.
Yeah. I'm glad that you've broken it down in the simplest basic form, because a lot of people also do not understand why the rates are going down. And the truth of the matter is that it's not good news for anybody that is investing.
It's not.
But the good thing, like you said, is that because we don't have access to the international market anymore like we used to have, it's one of the best ways the government can control these things, because at the end of the day, the government is borrowing from us to fund a lot of things in the country. So if they are going to be borrowing at a higher rate, that's a lot of cost to them.
Exactly.
So they are playing it safe by reducing the rates below 20% for the first time in about 2 years, which I think is not that bad. I'm not sure how much it's going to be exactly by the time they are done agreeing on what rate it has to be on, but I think it's a good move to borrow at a far lower rate, so that things can work out the way it has to be worked out. So let me say that all Ghanaians who are probably interested in the T-bills, or those of you who have already invested, I know you might be counting your losses, but let's build Ghana together and sacrifice for the spirit. I'm not sure. I'm not the Bank of Ghana. I'm not the governor either. So I can't tell you how long it's going to take for this to run. But I believe that within the shortest possible time, this might be over, and probably we might get back to a bit more better rates as you have been expecting. So if you have invested in the T-bill rates, please, in the T-bills, do not be worried. I'm sure that the government knows what they're doing. Tomorrow, I think the Minister of Finance will be reading the budget. So I'm sure we might be hearing a bit more about it. So stay tuned, and then we'll bring you updates on that in the subsequent editions of bulletins here. All right, so I'll go straight into our next story, which is about International Women's Day, which was celebrated on Saturday. So on International Women's Day, IWD 2025, President John Dramani Mahama reaffirmed his commitment to gender equality, calling for urgent measures to empower women and girls across all sectors. In a Facebook post marking the occasion, President Mahama urged Ghanaians to accelerate action towards achieving gender parity, emphasizing that women's empowerment is central to national progress. He highlighted the need to prioritize women's empowerment in areas such as education, business, politics, and leadership, stressing that Ghana must continue creating opportunities for women to thrive. His remarks align with this year's International Women's Day theme, Accelerates Action, which calls for urgent measures to ensure gender equality. Under President Mahama's leadership, Ghana has made significant progress in promoting gender equality, with the country's first female vice president serving as a milestone. However, he believes more needs to be done to break barriers and accelerate women's participation in leadership and decision-making. The year 2025 also marks the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, a significant milestone in women's rights. As part of the IWD celebrations, the president encouraged Ghanaians to use digital platforms to share impactful stories and messages that promote gender equality. He urged the public to use the hashtag for all women and girls to spark dialogue and inspire meaningful action. And that's a beautiful statement from Ghana's President John Dramani Mahama. And let me say that he was just buttressing the point of making sure that women are seen and are heard, not only in Ghana but across the continent of Africa. And I it's a thing I keep celebrating. Arguably, people say that women manage things better than men do, but I don't know what you think.
No, it's true. I also support that statement that women. I'm a woman, so I know what I'm saying. I'm talking.
Yeah, I don't see you defending any man in this situation.
Oh no, it's okay. You are a fan.
Okay, talk to me about it.
Yeah,
convince me.
So most times you see when a man gets up in the morning trying to even get ready, you see him like looking around, looking for something. Immediately he informed the wife that, oh, I'm looking for this. Here you are. I mean, we know
is that supposed to mean that the women are more organized?
We are very more organized and all that. And it goes easy with us. We know how to organize things. We know where to put this at the right time. And so if you are to put a woman in the leadership role, I mean, you are sorted out. And I'm very happy we currently have a female vice president for the first time. And you're going to see how the country is going to
So I'm going to ask you this on the female vice presidential issue. So for the first time, we have a female vice president in Ghana. How do you think this will impact the governance of this administration? Because indeed, the president has shown that he is open to promoting women's empowerment and all of that. So what do you think the impact of a female vice president is going to be like? Do you think it's going to affect decisions positively, I mean, for the next 4 years?
You've answered your question. Of course, it is going to affect it positively. No, initially we didn't have enough women to speak, right? We didn't have enough women to contribute to solutions in terms of trying to find solutions to issues of the country. But currently now we have a woman. So it's always from the men's perspective. It's always from, okay, what do you think we can do? It's always from the men. But this time we are going to have a woman also voicing it. And just listen to the woman, try her solution as well. And you're going to, like you said, women are the best when it comes to organizations and all that. So Ali, so this time you're going to have different perspective when it comes to bringing out solutions, right? And you just come up with the best out of these two perspectives, male and female. So to me, I really support. And so still on the story, I think one thing he made mention is the encouraging us to use digital platforms to boost women empowerment. You know, currently we are in the digitalization moment. And when talking about social media, it goes not just social media, but using digital platforms, it goes far, and not just your continent, but also it goes beyond the global world. So I'm happy he made mention the use of digital platform with the hashtag for all women and girls. And also when talking about women empowerment, he didn't just say education, he didn't just say maybe leadership, but he made mention of the various sectors. We know when it comes to women empowerment, majority it falls under farming, the farming system, because in Ghana, or not even in Ghana, in Africa, majority of the women participate in the farming system.
Yeah.
So this time it's not just women going into farming, but rather he made mention of the political sector, education, politics, and also leadership. So me, I'm happy. Women, we are taking. Who runs the world?
Well,
girls.
well,
Who runs the world?
well, that's fine. So I am interested in the informal sector, especially for Ghana, where a lot of women run businesses and do things. So I just hope that they also would take advantage of this motivation from the president to make sure that our economic sector is well refined and then is properly boosted, so that the economy can bounce back to what we all want to see. Because the informal sector, whether you like it or not, plays a very crucial role in Ghana's economy, and a lot of women find themselves in that space. So I just hope and pray that this will go a long way to help women in that regard. And I've also seen a few stories on social media, on Facebook and then on X, where individuals are sharing very beautiful stories about women in not only in high places, but even individually. I mean, you know, some of these stories, it's not every one of these stories that will make it to the headlines, but in our own small way, in every little corner where you find a woman, you see the little successes that are being chopped in those areas. So it's a good thing, and I applaud the president for you know, taking the opportunity to throw more light on the International Women's Day. All right. So I think, Bella, you can go on with the next story.
Yes, moving on to the next story, which was featured on the University World News. It says maternal mental health research in tune amid funding turmoil. Now, a new global health research initiative using music to support the mental health of expectant mothers has been launched amid growing uncertainty over international research funding. The Community Health Intervention Through Musical Engagement CHIME project brings together researchers from the UK, South Africa, the Gambia, Lesotho, and Australia to explore how culturally embedded musical practices can improve maternal well-being in resource-limited settings. Funded with 2.8 million euros, which is approximately $3.5 million US from the UK's NIHR, CHIME promotes structured group singing as an accessible intervention to reduce anxiety, stress, and social isolation among expectant mothers. In the Gambia, CHIME collaborates with local Kayenling groups, that is female fertility societies that use music and ritual to support women's health. In South Africa, the project partners with community health workers to develop songs promoting maternal well-being, while in Lesotho, researchers are working with the Ministry of Health to integrate CHIME into national maternal health programs. So, Phil, this is an initiative which is trying to look at the mental health of expectant mothers. And through a research or through funding from the UK NIHR. So let's break it into pieces, looking at music and then maternal mental health. You know, music is medicine in a way. It lifts people from their depressions. It encourages people. It motivates people, and even people who cannot talk or who does not have the confidence to talk can use music to express themselves. Most of the musicians, when you ask them why this song, why this lyrics, they tell you
there's always a story behind it.
There's a story behind it. And now we are focusing on expectant mothers. We know the situations they go through, the challenges they face, the depressions, the stress, the pains, the emotions and all that. So for us to tune or trying to use music to as a way to boost their mental health or to encourage them or to lift them from their depression is a very good initiative. And I like the fact that this was based on a research, two research on depression. The first one is titled Depression, Stress and Anxiety. Oh, no, I think I'm reading something else. Yes, like I was saying, yes, it's based on research and also to encourage expectant mothers to come out from their situation in terms of depression. To me, I like music a lot. And sometimes when I want to speak to people or I want to meditate or talk to myself, I use music. And the lyrics is quite a lot. And I like the fact that this is based in Africa, the Gambia, Lesotho, and South Africa, and they all have different strategies to lift or to encourage these mothers. In Ghana, for instance, I've seen a lot of maternal hospitals. I've seen a lot of maternal hospitals that encourage, when you see them going for the prenatal, I see videos on social media, they'll be dancing.
Okay.
And, you know, you've not seen such a video.
I've seen a few, just a few.
Yeah, they'll be dancing, singing, trying to encourage them, trying to let them come out from there. Like, I'm scared. What am I going to go through? Like the pains, crying, the morning sickness, and all that. It encourages them and makes them happy. So I'm really happy about this initiative.
Well, it's a beautiful thing, like you're saying. The reason I'm enthused about it is not necessarily even because of the maternal mothers or women who are expectant. For me, the whole idea of mental health in Africa has not received enough attention.
No, not at all.
We often look at it as like a westernized sort of problem, but in reality, a lot of people have challenges when it comes to mental health in Africa, and that's how come sometimes you would probably hear people have committed suicide without even leaving a note or anything of the sort. I mean, whether male or female. And many of these things are as a result of mental health. The kind of things people are battling, especially in Africa, where unfortunately, when you probably are living in a country where things are not going the way you expect them to be compared to a lot of Western countries or in the US, you like basic things are challenges. People are frustrated by some of these things, and then they try to make efforts towards making their lives better, and then it doesn't look like things are working. It always feels some way. So for me, the fact that we are paying attention to mental health alone is enough. And now we have skewed it towards expectant mothers. Is a beautiful thing. I'm a man, so I don't know what it means to get pregnant and all of those things, but I have heard, I've seen people tell their stories about pregnancy. I think in one of our midweek episodes, I think a week or two ago, there was a story about postpartum hemorrhage or something like that. These are things women go through when they are pregnant and then they deliver and all of these things. So it's a big deal for me to know that at least some attention is going towards that side when it comes to maternal or expectant mothers. So it's a beautiful thing. And like you said, music is a thing that is always relaxing for the soul. Many times, even when you are depressed, naturally, regardless of if you're male or female, try to play some music and see what happens to you. It takes your mind off a lot of things. One of the things I like about music is even listening to jazz, where I'm just listening to the instrumentals play without the words. It's so soothing. So it's a beautiful thing for me to know that some attention is given to expectant mothers when it comes to mental health. It's a beautiful thing. So if other countries in Africa can copy this from the Lesothos and the South Africas, I mean, it's a beautiful thing to do. So I would encourage that this should go on.
Of course, we are going to encourage them to go on. But then again, there's an issue raised in this story. You know, currently, especially in US, they are cutting foreign aid to focus on research to Africa. And UK is also doing same. So this for this initiative, because it's new, so they are kind of sorted out. But imagine other initiatives which are also into mental health, but different sector and all that. But then there's the foreign aid is being cut off. What is going to be their next step? To me, I think that is why sustainability plan in every project is key. Because you don't know when you are not going to receive funds again. And as you are doing your project, you should think about, okay, should it end? Because it's a project and it has a duration. It's obviously going to end. For you to go to the next phase, it depends on the funder.
Exactly.
Whether he or she is going to, or whether they are going to give you another set of money to roll it over to the next period. So as you are doing your project, so this goes to the Chime team. As you are doing this initiative, you should also have a sustainability plan so that should it end and there are no funding, it continues. So it's not going to be like after it, that is the end of the project. Because these days, most of these funders, they are focusing on their country, cutting off these foreign aid.
And this is the reason I think that a lot of governments must begin to think about investing in research. In most African countries, we have very good universities. Let's take advantage of this. Turn this, let's say, unfortunate incidents of being cut off funding let's turn it into something good. Let's engage our universities. Let's engage the departments, the faculties, the students, and let's get into some research and let's fund it. These are the ways we can be able to do the things that we are supposed to do. Look, there's nothing better than knowing that you are the person funding your own research and your project and things of that nature. And at the end of the day, it's for us actually. I mean, it's okay when you get funding or a sponsor from elsewhere. It's fine. But if it's our initiative, it's a thing that bothers us as Africans, I think that we must be equally responsible for it because we are going to account for it in any way. So I would say that this is where the governments of Africa must begin to pay key attention to research in various institutions. I mean, even if at the governmental levels, the outfits responsible for these things are not ready, let's engage the universities. Exactly. That's why the universities are there. So I think that the African government must begin to look into these things, and then we'll try to do things in our own way. It doesn't matter how fast we go or how slow we go. It's our thing. So we shouldn't be too worried about how much funding is coming and how slow or fast it is. You just talked about projects. Projects have a window every time. I mean, so if it's our thing, and if we know that this is how much money is coming in from the government, let's work around the budget and make something happen, whilst trying to look for funding from elsewhere.
You're right. Yeah. You're right. So it's about time our government focuses on research or funding research of our continent. Now, moving on to the next story focused in Sudan. University students in Sudan's war-torn regions face severe stress, anxiety, and depression due to ongoing conflict, university closures, and displacement. Experts warn of worsening PTSD, chronic anxiety, and social isolation, urging urgent mental health interventions. A recent BMC psychiatry study highlights the crisis, linking poor mental health to declining academic performance. Professor Mohammed Hassan calls for training more psychologists and psychiatrists, while Professor Awad El Karim Khalifa suggest online learning and safe study centers. Experts recommend counseling services, digital mental health platforms, awareness campaigns, and university staff training to support students. Implementing these strategies could help students cope and succeed academically despite the ongoing conflict. So, Phil, this is the ongoing situation in Sudan, and it's nearly 2 years since the war started between the two armed forces in Sudan, and currently we are looking at the impact on students, the mental health issues, depressions, schools being closed, and they being at home, lectures on hold, a whole lot of things. Seeing your loved ones dying, your friends dying, and all that. It's quite, aside we looking at the famine or no food or another thing, the crisis, the famine crisis, we are now focusing on the students.
It's
mental health.
It's a big deal. It's a major problem. First of all, I really don't know why the Sudan conflict is still ongoing, but I've known about that story for a while now. So it's sad to say that it's beginning to affect academic work because, like the story is saying, when you talk about PTSD, it's not a joke. Post-traumatic stress disorder, it's no joke at all, because these are things that can have a lifelong impact on the students. And these are the people who we often say are the future leaders of every country or nation or whatever it is. Now look at these people or this group of students going through all of these kinds of problems. How do we expect them to take over the country from the current leaders or the people responsible for the country at the moment? Give it 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, or the next 50 years. The people in the helm of affairs now will not be there. These people who may have suffered all these PTSD problems and every other thing that we are talking about now will be the ones to be running the countries. There's a tendency that what we are seeing now with regards to the war and the fight and everything will continue, because the people will live with it. I've watched a documentary about soldiers who have been to war and how PTSD affects them. They are there, and then even in a domestic setting, they tend to get violent because they are there, and then suddenly I don't know if it's called hallucination or whatever it is, but you see
Yeah,
in their
it's
minds,
all part of
they are
the
thinking
impact.
of
It's all
things that
part
have
of it.
happened in wars, and then suddenly they are getting violent, they are taking guns, and they are taking any kind of weapon they can find around to want to hurt the next available person. Or if in any kind of setting there's a small argument or a fight, they tend to be so aggressive. And look, this thing is not a good thing. It's not a good thing. These students may not be responsible for the war, or they may not be in the fight.
Yeah.
But the outcome of the effect is not a beautiful thing. It's not a beautiful thing at all. So I like that experts are recommending counseling services,
Exactly.
and then digital mental health platforms, and then awareness campaigns. These things are they seem like the only solution to the problem at the moment. So I don't know what the government of Sudan will do to help their students, but this is a good call, and I think that they should invest heavily in it. Whatever they can do to make sure this war stops, it must be done. But beyond that, a lot of attention must be paid to the students, because they are the ones who are in education now. They are reading, they are learning, and then in the next few years they'll be taking over the country. If they are going through things like this, I don't think Sudan's future is looking good.
Not at
from
all.
the way things are looking right now.
Not at all. And talking about not knowing what the government is doing, most times when we are going through situations like this, because they are the highest level, they really do not feel the impact.
Exactly.
And because they are kind of motivating these kind of wars, and or even behind this war, they do not feel the impact. So I like how this is based on two research from the. So it is something they have explored and seen the effect. It is part of them. So the government should really look at the findings of this and also take the recommendations. Even if you are not seizing fires now, at least there should be some ways and means to encourage these students. Like you made mention, they are our future. And they should be used to these wars and violence and aggressions and all that, just like you made mention. In future, should there be any case, the only solution to them will be war. Let's go to war. Let's fight them. Let's fight this. And that will be the only solution for them. And it goes a long way when we talk about mental health, the impact of war. Aside the hunger, aside the water crisis, aside the rate of death, those who are going to survive alone, what they are going to go through, it's huge compared to those who have passed away. Especially when you lose your families, you things are not moving on. And it's quite sad. So Sudan should, especially, and also the education and the authorities, they should take these recommendations there to activate online teaching and open teaching centers in safe areas, implementing the mental health support programs. It's very necessary because it's still ongoing. So teachers should know when a child is going through mental situations and then encourage the child through counseling and all that. And sometimes too, when we are talking about mental health issues, most people cannot come out and say it. They like to keep it and just go through the depression. So the online platforms to counsel the students is also a good strategy or a good platform to use. So we are hoping the Sudanese government take these recommendations.
It's imperative that they do. It's imperative that they do.
Exactly. So our next story is featured on the BBC Africa, and it's vital leprosy drug due in Nigeria after a year delay. So people affected by leprosy in Nigeria will be able to access vital medication for the first time in a year as the World Health Organization announces the arrival of new supplies this weekend. Nigeria, which records more than 2,000 new cases annually, ran out of leprosy drugs due to regulatory changes that delayed shipments. The WHO urged the country to temporarily lift its new testing policy to allow the medication to arrive from India on Sunday. Leprosy is curable with a combination of antibiotics, but without treatment, patients suffer from sore, nerve damage, and deformities. The standard treatment lasts between 6 to 12 months, and the lack of drugs has forced hospitals to turn away patients, increasing the risk of transmission. Dr. Samimu Insheliza, a public health expert with the Leprosy Mission Nigeria, stressed the urgency of the situation, saying thousands of newly diagnosed patients are waiting for medication. The quicker we have the drug, the better, because currently these people are suffering and transmission is ongoing, he mentioned to the BBC. Phil,
Yeah.
this is leprosy health.
Yeah.
And in Nigeria, they have lacked the medication for quite a while now, almost a year. And now they are looking forward to the arrival of antibiotics medication to cure leprosy. And the WHO is suggesting or advising Nigeria to lift the regulations they put in place because it's kind of delaying the arrival of medication to the country.
Yeah.
For quite a while now, we've heard and seen in so many platforms videos of people bringing in fake medication in Nigeria, fake products in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So in 2019, I think I saw a press release by the Director General of the NAFDAC in 2019 suggesting or establishing regulations to curb this situation or bringing in substandard medications and fake medications and ensuring that regulations are strong to ensure good products or safe products are being brought in the country. And now we are seeing some side effects from the regulations. To me, I think it's very good they have the regulation because it's better to have good and quality and safe medication than to have fake, which will come quicker.
Well, this is a very good point. I want to look at this thing in two ways. Okay. First of all, what did Nigeria do to attract sanctions from the WHO? I don't know if it still has to do with the importation of fake drugs in their systems, such that as a result of that, maybe there were some sanctions to limit what comes in or what goes. I don't know, but I'm just saying because it is basically because of some sanctions. That's why they're asking the WHO to lift the sanctions or whatever, because they may have done something.
Make it a bit flexible.
Yes. So whatever they may have done, I don't know. But whatever it is, I think that's the first problem.
Okay.
Because per the story, the people who are suffering from leprosy have not had access to medication for about a year. This is a whole 12 months. And leprosy increases at a really faster rate because it is caused by a bacteria.
Yeah.
And it is it happens when people are in close contact with each other, and one of the major causes of it is basically because of poverty. You hardly find rich folks suffering these kind of things. So people who are living in densely populated areas who have probably bad health practices, things like that, are the ones who may be affected by this kind of things. So what can Nigeria do to stop the bacteria from spreading? Is another thing, because if you have not been able to access drugs in 1 year, and what the story says, they have recorded 2,000 new cases annually. This is serious, and Nigeria is a big country.
Yes,
over 100 million people. So look at how dense populated the country is. Yes. So I feel like that's beyond whatever sanctions they may have suffered. The Nigerian health sector, whoever's responsible, must be digging into what they can do whilst awaiting arrival of vaccines to make sure this spread is stopped. Because you can say that 2,000 per year is not so much compared to many other cases, but it's a big deal. It is a big deal. And the good thing is that it can be cured. So
it's curable.
Why would we wait for 2,000 cases to be recorded annually?
So to me, I think the government has really it's not at fault and has not really done anything, and nothing bad, and they are not being sanctioned by WHO. Every country has its own regulations. Okay. Like in Ghana here, FDA, there are durations for you to even register a drug. You have to go through some rules and regulations. You need to submit some forms. You need to even submit the ingredients of the...
Yes.
All these initially were not being paid attention. So People
Okay.
were just bringing in fake
Okay.
medications and all that. So the government of Nigeria dedicated or tried established, and this time they are being serious about it.
Okay.
Before a drug will come to, whether we know you or not, because these are new set of drugs.
Yeah.
Whether you are a known manufacturer, or you have to go through the procedures. And I think probably the issue now is the duration of the. Let me go through the regulations. So, NAFDAC started in 2019 to enforce regulations and control of active pharmaceutical ingredients. There's the API of all drugs imported or manufactured locally by requesting for submission of the drug master file, and that has all the history of processing and safety of the drug. So first off, you need to submit the master file, which is the processing of the drugs and its safety. And then from January 2020, it was mandatory to identify and test the API. So even you've submitted your file, your document and all that, the agency is now going to test the medication. So you see all this duration to test and then know that, okay, of course, you've bypassed, or there are no hazards, or there are no side effects of your drugs. And then the agency is also going to, if maybe it's locally produced here, they are going to inspect the manufacturing companies to ensure that the place is safe, clean, and all that. And also, because they want to, aside they looking at the drugs, the processing and all that, they also want to encourage local manufacturing of. So there was a new policy, which is the 5+5 validity policy that was established. And it says that if you're a manufacturer from outside and you've been in the system, or you've been importing drugs for 5 years, then before you are going to renew your company or your product for the next 5 years, you need to ensure that you bring it to the local manufacturer. So this time you are not going to import, but rather you are coming to the country to do the drugs there. And that is also going to kind of reduce the duration of the regulation, you submitting, and now they are now going to test the product and now going to look at the manufacturing process. So I think the regulation is there, and this time they are very serious. But the duration for you to be accepted is what is causing the leprosy problem now. So now I think maybe since they received, I think maybe for a year now they received some drugs, it is taking kind of like a year for the other drugs to be accepted, or for it to be even to be accepted. Yes, to be accepted in the country. So maybe they have to reduce the process, the duration of the process.
Exactly, it's exactly what I'm thinking about.
That should be
the processes and whatever they are trying to put in there is fine, but expedite it, because the lives of people are at stake there. Because I'm looking at the effects of what leprosy can do, and it is crazy. I mean, nerve damage, muscle weakness, the decreased ability to feel pain. Look, when somebody's nervous system is damaged, the person is close to death. I mean, of what use is a human being alive when their nervous systems are not working? You feel nothing. You don't. I mean, basically, the person just exists. It's not a good thing.
It's not.
So, for us to know the problems that can arise as a result of the lack of vaccines, the structures that have been put in place are not bad. But let's expedite the process so that the people who are affected. You see, my challenge here is that maybe the people at the helm of affairs may not have people directly who are affected by this kind of things. I mean, I stand to be corrected, but I feel like when you don't have somebody close to this kind of things, you are not sure, or you don't know the effects, even though you may know about it, you're not sure how it is affecting such people. So in your mind, you're doing your job. But there's a point where you have to put a human face to the situation. 2,000 cases annually is a big deal for me.
It is.
I mean, and given the way Nigeria is densely populated and the nature of their population, I fear these numbers might escalate probably in the next year or two. I hope it does not, because I don't want to read another report sometime again on this show or elsewhere, seeing that this number has doubled or quadrupled or tripled or whatever it is. I mean, for me, I'm glad that there are structures that have been put in place, especially encouraging that local people even come to the table and provide some sort of drugs by manufacturing in the country, which will reduce importation and all of those things. It's a beautiful thing. It will grow the economy and all of that. But these processes should be expedited. NAFDAC or whoever's responsible must just set up and then make sure things are working quickly, and then these things are sorted out.
Yes,
Yeah.
I like that you are saying they should make it a bit flexible and the duration should be short. But also, why are we not encouraging these foreign manufacturers to also bring the products here? You know, open a branch there so that the product will be manufactured.
That's another option.
Yes, that is also
That's
going to
another
decrease
option.
the duration of you receiving.
That's another option.
We are in need of it, and we are given the platform that you can come and manufacture your product. Come and settle in the country to manufacture your products there.
Yeah.
Why are we also not encouraging local manufacturing?
So
rather than saying we should lift? No.
Yeah. So
because
that's
if
another
not,
option.
there are a lot of counterfeit and fake medications will be around,
In
and
the
that
system,
is also going to create huge problem compared to.
I agree with
in learning and training purposes. AAU eLearn Africa LMS, which is a partnership between the Association of African Universities and eLearn Africa, has made available ease to use online learning tools to all stakeholders within the educational ecosystem of the African continent. This is to enhance teaching and learning in the bid to expand online learning opportunities for students in Africa. The online platform is open and available for free to all stakeholders and facilitates virtual access to classes without needing the other tools such as Zoom, Microsoft Teams, among others. For more information, visit www.elearnafricalms.com or contact us via aaulms@aau.org or estherm@elearnafrica.com. Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at AAU eLearn Africa LMS.
Hello, Africa. Keep watching AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks.
Welcome back from that commercial break, and we will go straight away into the lifestyle segment. You're still live on the Hello Africa Morning Show, coming to you from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities. Now, with our first story in lifestyle, have you ever seen your head on a platter or met your own clone? Nairobi just became home to the mind-bending Museum of Illusions, a space where perception and reality clash in the most entertaining way. The museum officially opened on January 24, 2025, and was launched by Tourism Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miano. She praised it as a powerful mix of fun, learning, and innovation, calling it a valuable addition to Kenya's tourism scene. Visitors can explore rooms filled with visual tricks and sensory challenges, from the vortex tunnel to a tilted room, a reverse space, and optical illusions. Every installation invites you to question what you see. Let's take a look. Is doing currently in their Museum of Illusions. Imagine looking at your head on a platter or meeting your own clone. It's like waking up to see a twin of yourself.
Yeah. So when you made mention, imagine seeing your head on a platter or your clone, I was thinking maybe they are going to create a statue of myself, like within a period of like a short period. But this is basically like, this is illusion. You know, sometimes when you see things like this and your eyes begin, you start feeling dizzy, like what is going on? Am I standing or am I moving? Am I tilting?
Yeah.
So it's interesting. And
I saw the video. Yeah.
She can see herself like 5 times.
Yes. Yeah. I like the video of the tilted what's it called? The tilted room, where when you're in one corner you look taller and bigger, and then in the other space you look smaller. Yeah. I mean that's a beautiful thing. Well, that's a beautiful thing, and one day when I visit Nairobi, I'm sure I will experience this. This is just beautiful.
Yeah. So imagine this is the tilting room.
Yeah. Wow, that's a beautiful thing Nairobi has done, and I bet this is going to boost their tourism sector. Yeah. So, my fellow Africans, if you're watching this is a place to visit in Nairobi whenever you get the chance to visit that beautiful country. Now, in our second story, still on lifestyle, King Misuzulu Kazwitini, I hope I got that right, has filed for divorce from his first wife, Queen Ntokozo Kemaisela, a move that has scandalized conservative Zulu society, where divorce by kings is highly unusual. Cultural experts say such matters are typically kept secret. Experts say the king's failure to follow traditional marriage rites has undermined royal norms. Traditional Zulu marriages require public ceremonies and symbolic rituals, which his first and second marriages reportedly lacked. The king's second marriage to Nozizwe Kamulela, a banker from Eswatini, appears strained. She's been absent from public events. A planned third wedding to Momzamo Meyena was postponed after court battles with Queen Mayisela, who argued the king would be committing bigamy, though the court dismissed her claim. The wedding didn't happen. A fourth woman, Sile Nduli, of royal blood, is rumored to be the new queen to be, possibly set to become mother of the nation. Her background could strengthen royal alliances, but observers are unsure if the wedding will go ahead. This is a king's marriage. I never thought for once a king's marriage will be up for
filing for a divorce.
Exactly. And will be up for discussion in the public domain. I mean, I thought kings had, let me see, some sort of prerogatives to do whatever they wanted when it came to marriages. This is an interesting story.
It is. And looking at the story, it looks like already there was an issue with the first marriage and second marriage, because as custom says, your marriage should be publicly known and it should be celebrated with your people.
Yeah.
But this is what the first and second marriage lacked.
Yeah.
People didn't know. All they could hear was the king is married to this as first wife and this as second wife. And now we are filing a divorce for the first wife. And already your people do not even know the second. It's not, they know, but they can't feel her presence because she's missing. She's mostly missing during public initiative event. So you are going to divorce your first wife, and then the second wife is not really known. And now the third wife, or which the marriage didn't hold due to your court issue with the first wife. Like so much issue from
There's a lot going on.
And now we are looking at it. So for you are not settled with the first wife, the issue. You are not settled, or you've not even settled this issue with your second wife.
Yeah.
The third wife didn't come on, or the marriage didn't come on, and we are looking at the fourth wife.
Yeah. I mean, bringing it to an individual perspective, I mean, let me go out of the way of the story. Gentlemen who are managing more than two, three, 4 ladies, how are you doing this? Like,
okay, so this is tradition. I think maybe this is allowed as a king.
As a king, yes. But
lots
for me, in the context of marriage, things are more legal.
Yeah.
So for a king who has the right to be able to marry whatever number of women, I don't know how many, but it looks like it's possible. So he has the right to do that. and we're talking about 3-4 ladies in this picture, and this is marriage, which is supposed to be okay. That's what I'm talking about, out of context. What about the people who are managing 2, 3, 4 women in a relationship? Because in many settings, it's not really legal. But this is a king who has the right to be able to marry more than one. So why is all of this controversy surrounding the women or the marriage and all of that? I mean, it's quite an interesting story for me.
It is an interest. And I think looking at this, it looks like the people are also in support of the third and the fourth wife, who also has kind of a royal lineage, and also is speculated to be the next queen and the mother of the nation. It looks like they are in support of
So why is this one having some sort of acceptance from the people? Is there a problem with the first and second?
They didn't experience the wedding. It has to be public. You need to include that. But that is not what happened.
But,
so already
but
there's an issue.
This is the king's. Well, I don't know if it's culturally a thing that is supposed to be
yes,
made
that
public.
Is as, yes. That
okay,
is
so that's what it is.
Yes. So already they can't. I don't want to talk.
Well, anyway, I get where you're coming from. You're trying to be careful about the situation.
I wouldn't be here, and then I'll be needed.
So that you'll be someone in Eswatini. Okay, I get where you're coming from. That's a beautiful one.
But as a king, people are looking up to you, and they are you've been elected, or you've been appointed, or by your people to lead them, to set the rules and take the steps so they follow. And if you are, the rules, that these are the traditions, this is the best thing to do. You should have done it, even right from the, if I'm sure if their marriage, the first and second were done publicly, the people would one way or the other know how to solve this. I don't know what the issue is for him to be filing a divorce. Maybe
exactly. That's strange. That is very strange for a king to be filing for divorce.
First wife, there's a second wife. There's a third wife.
Yes.
So let it be.
That is why I think the story has gained traction, because I don't get why you have the option of going forward to do whatever you want to do with another wife, and you opt for divorce. I mean, that's a big deal. But well,
do you think it's a good thing?
I can't say.
Maybe we are looking at traditions, and probably it's something that's supposed to be done, and because we are focused on it's a culture, we are not supposed, a king is not supposed to file a divorce, and then the king is still going to be in the issue, still going through situations at home that we don't even know.
Well,
maybe he's trying to change something. What about that?
The truth about some of these things
happy,
that
so he wants to.
We are unable to tell fully because. Like they say in Akan, that's I mean, for those of you who don't understand Akan or Chi, that's what it literally means, that you are the one who's sitting close to,
you are in the
situation,
so
and you know what you're suffering.
Yeah.
So maybe because we are not in the marriage, we are not partners in the marriage, we may not know what he's going through. But it's just interesting to know that he has options for other wives, and he opts for divorce with his first wife. Well, we wish him well. We'll be following that story, and we'll see how it goes.
Anyway. And so now that the third wife, the wedding didn't come on, so that means there's no third wife. So why are they calling this one a fourth wife? I mean,
well, it's quite a complicated situation.
It is.
Yeah, it's quite a complicated situation. But like I said, we'll be following, because I want to see how this ends, because I'm interested to know, especially why a king who has the chance to marry more than one, and he wants to divorce the first wife. I don't get it. There might be something that we do not know, or we don't know. But well, we'll see how it goes. Okay. All right. So that will be all for the lifestyle segment on the Hello Africa morning show today. We'll go for a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll go into sports. Game on Africa. Stay tuned.
Explore a whole new world of exciting visuals with AAU TV. Get ready for a mix of interesting talk shows, interviews, discovery documentaries, and news on AAU TV. It's not just about watching TV, it's about experiencing something special. AAU TV reaches over 25 countries in Africa, bringing you a blend of knowledge and fun. Learn about different cultures as you enjoy the shows. If you have events or want to showcase your business, we've got you covered. Watch AAU TV free-to-air channel on satellite. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at AAU TV. Reach out on call or WhatsApp us at +233 26 629 6601 or +233 20 399 5210. AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Hello Africa, keep watching AAU TV.
This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks.
All right, welcome back from that commercial break, and this is the sports segment we call Game On Africa on your Hello Africa morning show. We'll begin with trending stories. Arsenal fans are not happy with referee decision in Bruno Fernandes's standing free kick yesterday. In a thrilling 1-1 draw between Manchester United and Arsenal, controversy erupted over Bruno Fernandes's incredible free kick goal. Fans noticed that the Arsenal defensive wall was set 11.2 yards from the ball, over a yard further back than the regulated 10 yards, which is usually what is seen. The goal, scored on the stroke of halftime, followed a foul by Leandro Trossard on Alejandro Garnacho. Fernandes capitalized on the extra distance, powering the ball over the wall and past David Raya into the net. Despite the setback, Raya later redeemed himself with crucial save to maintain the draw. In the next trending story, Real Madrid edged past Rayo Vallecano with a 2-1 victory win at the Santiago Bernabeu, reclaiming second position in La Liga after Atletico Madrid's loss to Getafe. Despite the victory, fans were critical of the team's performance, prompting head coach Ancelotti to respond. Speaking after the Madrid could have secured a bigger lead, but admitted the second half saw a dip in performance. Ancelotti praised Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. for their contributions and explained his decision to substitute key forwards later in the game, emphasizing the importance of defending a narrow lead. He also provided updates on Jude Bellingham and Thibaut Courtois, assuring fans that both players are expected to recover quickly from minor setbacks. In our next story, Barcelona faces another challenging summer transfer window as financial constraints force the club to reconsider selling players to fund new signings. Sporting director Deco aims to bolster Hansi Flick's squad with a Marquinhos signing, reportedly targeting Liverpool's Luis Diaz. However, to facilitate such a move, the Catalan giants may need to part ways with a high-value player. Andreas Christensen, Eric Garcia, and Frankie de Jong have been linked with potential exits, though de Jong is likely to stay if he agrees to a new contract. Reports suggest that Gavi and Fermin Lopez could also be considered for departures if they remain squad players rather than regular starters under Hansi Flick, despite signing long-term contracts recently. Barcelona fans, however, would be disheartened by the prospect of losing either Gavi or Lopez, especially the former, who holds immense promise for the club's future. Now, the coming weeks will reveal who might be sacrificed to navigate the club through their financial challenges. And before we go into the league games, let's just look at a quick clip from the first story involving Arsenal and Manchester United, in which there was a draw of 1-1.
Strikes it goal, it's bending on! Bruno Fernandes with another piece of magic for Manchester United. It's sensational from United's Portuguese Magnifico. Manchester United lead just before half-time.
And we'll go straight into the updates from the leagues around the world. We'll begin with the English Premiership, and here's a rundown of the recent action. On Saturday, Brighton defeated Fulham 2-1. Brentford also fell to Aston Villa by a goal. Wolverhampton and Everton played 1-1 draw. Nottingham Forest also defeated Manchester City 1-0. Liverpool defeated Southampton 3-1 to keep the points at 16 points difference. Crystal Palace also defeated Ipswich Town 1-0. And then on Sunday, Tottenham and Bournemouth ended up in a 2-2 draw. Chelsea also defeated Leicester City 1-0. And then here's a summary of the current Premier League table. Liverpool stands at 70 points. Arsenal also follows by 55 points in second position. Nottingham Forest with 51 points in third position. Chelsea at 49. Manchester City sits in fifth position with 47 points. Meanwhile, Manchester United sits in the 14th position with 34 points. Now let's get into La Liga, and here's a rundown of the action over the weekend. Barcelona and Osasuna had their game postponed on Saturday because of the death of a team doctor from the Barcelona side, and so that game was postponed. A date is yet to be communicated for that game. On Sunday, Getafe defeated in a defeat shock. They defeated Atletico Madrid 2-1. Real Madrid also defeated Rayo Vallecano 2-1. And then Athletic Club, together with Mallorca, played a 1-1 draw. Real Betis also defeated Las Palmas 1-0. And then Sociedad also lost 1-0 to Sevilla. An update on their table, and here, this is what it looks like. It's very close at the top for the table between Barcelona and then Real Madrid, and you can see on your screen at the moment it's at 57 points at peace, but Barca has a game in hand, that is the Osasuna game. So if Barcelona wins that game, they will probably go atop the table in a clear difference. Atletico Madrid is also having a strong season, and they're in the mix, and the Athletic Club also is in the top 4. We'll go straight into the Italian Serie A. On Saturday, Inter Milan defeated Monza 3-2. Lecce also lost to AC Milan in a 2-3 defeat. On Sunday, Verona lost against Bologna 2-1. Then Napoli also defeated Fiorentina 2-1. Empoli also lost to Roma in a 1-goal defeat. And in another shocking defeat, Juventus lost 4-0 to Atalanta. Here's a general overview of the Serie A table. Inter Milan are currently at the top of the table with 61 points. Napoli is very close behind them with 60 points. Atalanta and Juventus are also among the top teams, and the teams are competing very strongly in the Serie A. We'll go on into the Bundesliga in Germany, and on Friday, Mönchengladbach played against Mainz, and the score was a 1-3 defeat, even though Mönchengladbach was playing at home. On Saturday, Leverkusen also lost to Bremen in a 2-0 defeat. Borussia Dortmund also lost to Augsburg in a 1-0 defeat. And then Kiel and Stuttgart played out a 2-2 draw. Bayern Munich also lost their game against Bochum, and it was a 2-3 scoreline after Bayern suffered a red card in the game. Wolfsburg and St. Pauli also played out a 1-1 draw. Freiburg and Leipzig played a 0-0 draw. And then on Sunday, Frankfurt and then Union Berlin played, and then Frankfurt lost with 2-1. And then Hoffenheim also played a 1-1 draw with Heidenheim. In the Bundesliga, this is what the table looks like. Bayern Munich has 61 points. At the top, Bayern Leverkusen follows with 53 points. Mainz follows in third position with 44 points. Frankfurt with 42 points in the fourth position, and then Freiburg has 41 points. And this is the end of the sports news on the segment we call Game on Africa on the Hello Africa show. All right. Later on, in subsequent editions, we'll be talking about the Black Stars. Why? Because they have two qualifiers, World Cup qualifiers, later on in this month. We are yet to see if there is going to be an open budget for all of us to see. Like the president of Ghana has recommended that the budget for the Black Stars will be made open for everybody to see what's going on. So let's hope and see what happens in the subsequent days if we are going to see that budgets come to reality, and then everybody's going to see what the budget is looking like in the two qualifiers. One of them is going to be played in Accra, and then the other one outside Ghana. So we'll be talking about in subsequent editions. So Bella, we are all too soon. We are coming to the end of today's edition.
Exactly, and thank you all for joining us today on the Hello Africa Morning Show. Today, like you were saying, we celebrated Ghana in different ways through our costume, and also talking a bit more, talking briefly about our history. We hope you are going to join us on our next episode. And also, if you missed the discussions on the various stories, you've not missed, you can follow the discussions on our social media handles, specifically on YouTube at the Association of African Universities. My name is Isabella Teta Hinapa, and like I said, my Ghana name is Naudi. Today I'm going with the name Naudi, and I've been doing this with my co-host.
My name is Philemon Edwards.
See you again in our next episode. Have a nice day.
This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks.